Working on a 2002 Cavalier, and just a simple job, but enough to be complicated and annoying. We're just going to change out this battery here, and it's got the side terminals, and I'm having trouble getting the positive one on, and I find that my threads are all bitched up here on this fastener. I've got the two fasteners from that battery there. Threads are damaged on this one. This was off the positive, it wouldn't connect, and the threads on this one are still good. So a couple things, we need to repair this. I don't know where I would get a replacement one if I was to look for it, but I'm just gonna make something up in the shop here with what I have. Another thing to note is that it's a 8 millimeter socket on the end there. Kind of an uncommon tool that you'd have with you. So I wanna repair this, and I want to change that fastener. What I decided to go with here is this is just a simple 3/8 bolt and a 3/8 nut with kind of like a swivel washer on there. And that swivel washer is going to be replicate or replace this shoulder here, and that will go into the molded end for the battery cable. Kind of keeps it in place, and then you can still turn this as you're tightening it and loosening it. So that's all it is, bolt nut, and I will run that up to the end here. I'll use some red Loctite to hold it so that it'll stay and it won't come apart. And then once we've got this to the end, we just want to make sure that we have the same amount of threads, so because we don't want that to bottom out in the battery hole where it fastens onto. And this is what we end up with our finished piece here. I just kind of worked on that washer to get it to the same size as the original one here, and then we'll push this into that molded end on the battery cable. That'll hold this in place, so it won't come out. It won't. It'll stay there, and then we can hook up the battery. So now we've got a 9/16 socket to take that off. And while I'm at it, I want to make sure that all the other fasteners are the same too. I don't like the idea of having 3 different wrenches to do a simple job. So this here was a metric fastener that's for the hold down to hold the battery in place for the plastic molded wedge in the bottom there. And so what I did for that one was I just got the same metric bolt here, and then I get a washer and I get a nut, and then I just put the washer and nut on there, and then we're going to put it in a vise, and then we're going to weld a 3/8 nut on the end. Here's what I was talking about with this this metric bolt, metric nut, and then all we're doing is we're just adjusting the height, and we just have this washer on there, and that's just so this nut will rest on there true, so that when we tack weld that on there, then it'll be true to the fastener. Here's the positive battery cable here, and then we have the molded end that just slips over top, and then inside here there's a recess, and that is where our bolt is going to go in there, and this washer is going to hold it in that recess. Slip that on over top of there and push it down, and then once it's in place, then you can work your fastener in and get a pair of pliers or something, kind of squeeze that in there so it'll go into that little recess and hold it in place. You see here that we've got that in. We pressed it in with some pliers. We just worked that in there with the pliers. We got that in there, so that's going to stay in there now, and it's not going to come out. And then I'll just fasten that up to the battery. We've done the same thing here with the negative cable, and that'll fasten on. We've got this one fastened on nice and tight, and everything's good. And then you just put your cap on for the positive one, so don't have any body metal or anything going to contact that and cause you some issues. So down here was our other fastener that we welded that nut to, and that's going to be a 9/16 to remove there. And while we were at it, we also did this fastener here, which is that's like a body ground. And so now when you're working on this battery, you've got all 3 fasteners that are going to use the same wrench instead of different wrenches for everything. There it is with the finished assembly. All the fasteners will use the same wrench now. It'll be a couple extensions and a ratchet to get down at that one, most likely, and this one as well. Just use a small hand wrench because down in here it gets kind of tight. That's what I'm using, rather than a ratchet and socket to get those ones.